nothing against politicians, but many of them are former lawyers. And in law, it's a zero-sum game. You sue Peter to pay Paul. When some lawyers become politicians, instead of suing Peter to pay Paul, they tax Peter to pay Paul. The pie gets cut thinner and thinner and thinner. I'm a physicist. My attitude is, we need a bigger pie. And where does this bigger pie come from? It comes from science and technology. So what are some of the barriers? One barrier is, some people think we can cut the science budget and get away with it. Well, yes, you can cut the science budget, but you pay a price because you're eating your seed corn. You are eating and destroying the future by cutting the science budget. Of course, scientists don't vote in large numbers like other interest groups, and therefore who speaks for science? And yet science is the engine of prosperity. It is the source of all this wealth. I can point to anything in this room. I can point to any job. I can point to all the wonders of this society and trace it to an invention done by a scientist. Starting with the steam engine, going to electricity and magnetism, going to high technology, all of it coming from science. And so yes, you can cut the science budget, but you pay a price. And what is that price? Poverty. You will be poor in the future. However, those countries that grasp intellectual capitalism, the link between commodity capitalism and intellectual capitalism, those countries will be rich in the future. Sad to say, but those countries which will be poor in the future are those countries which remain at intellectual capitalism. Food, for example, is an example of commodity capitalism. You realize that this morning you had breakfast that the King of England could not have had 100 years ago. Think of what you had for breakfast. Because of better mass production, containerization, competition, commodity prices historically dropped over the past 150 years. And that's why you had breakfast this morning that the King of England couldn't have had 100 years ago. We take for granted that fact. So where is the wealth going to come from in the future? And that is intellectual capitalism, those countries which grasp the link between commodity capitalism and intellectual capitalism. Okay, so that's the main thesis of what I'm going to talk about, and let's just throw it over.
Can you tell us what the Australia of the future looks like?
What?
Can you tell us what the future looks like? Will be driving flying cars? Will we have robot servants? What's the biggest discoveries that we are set to make in the next few years?
I've had the privilege of interviewing over 300 of the world's top scientists who are inventing the future in their laboratories. I've interviewed them for BBC Television, the Discovery Channel, the Science Channel, and my own national radio show, which goes out to 130 cities across the United States. First of all, what will a computer look like when you walk into a room? In 10, 15 years' time, the computer will basically disappear. You will contact computer technology mentally. You will simply think, and through the cloud, turn on the lights, call for your car, program your car, write a book, make articles just mentally by walking into a room. The computer will disappear. It'll be in the floor, the ceilings, the walls. Computers will be everywhere and nowhere. And this is going to revolutionize every aspect of our life. For example, take a look at medicine. Today, if you're injured, you have to have body parts that sometimes we can salvage from other cadavers, and sometimes we can't. In the future, we will have a human body shop, which will grow organs of the body. Today, we can already grow skin, cartilage, noses, ears, bladders. The first windpipe was grown 2 years ago. In the coming years, we'll grow the first liver and more complex organs other than the bladder. And And in 10, 20 years' time, we will have a human body shop, which will simply order organs on demand. And we will have a connectome. We will have 2 discs in the future. One disc is the genome, which we already have. It costs $3 billion to sequence the first human. In the future, it'll cost $100 to have a disc. I have my disc. You will have your disc as well, with all your genes on it. And you'll have a second disc, the connectome, with all the neural pathways of the human brain. All your memories, wants, desires, emotions, encoded in a second disc, and that is called the connectome, with all the connections of the human body. In 3 years' time, the first commercially available cars will drive themselves. By 2020, it should be commonplace to have cars that drive themselves. Okay? And as far as flying cars, we already have them. However, they are very expensive. They are impractical for the marketplace. Only wealthy individuals will buy flying cars because they're hobbyists. Certain things are possible, like flying cars, but are economically not feasible for the marketplace. Same thing with household robots, maids, butlers. Those things we will not have in the near future. The human mind turned out to be more complicated than we thought. However, when you want to access artificial intelligence in the future, you'll talk to the wall, and you'll ask to talk to RoboDoc. RoboDoc is an animated doctor in your wallpaper, because wallpaper will be intelligent in the future. You'll go to the wall and say, mirror, mirror on the wall, I want to talk to a doctor right now. Boom! RoboDoc appears, talks in ordinary English, accesses the internet, and gives you a diagnosis of all common medical questions. And if you're in a car accident, you will talk to Robo-Lawyer. Robo-Lawyer will also be in the wallpaper, and it'll be an animated figure, looks like a lawyer, talks like a lawyer, except in simple language, accesses all legal textbooks. And this is a byproduct of artificial intelligence. These are called expert systems. You will not have a mechanical maid or butler anytime soon in your house, but you will have RoboDoc and Robo-Lawyer commercially available in the coming years. And the internet, where will the internet be? In your contact lens. You will blink and you will be online. If you're a college student and you want to see the periodic chart, you blink and you see the periodic chart in your contact lens. And who are the first people to buy internet contact lenses? College students taking final examinations. They will blink and they will be online. Who are the second people to buy internet contact lenses? These lenses will identify people's faces, print out their biography next to their name. If they speak Chinese to you, you'll see subtitles in your contact lens as they speak Chinese to you, translated into English. So the next time you're at a cocktail party and you're looking for a job, but you don't know who the important people are, in the future, you will know exactly who to suck up to at any cocktail party, because their identity will be right there inside your contact lens. So we will be living in the matrix. We will be able to access real world, virtual world, identify people. Anything you look at will have an identity. It'll be when you drive a car, monuments, things you bypass will have an identification right there in your contact lens. Who's doing this? The military, NASA. The military already has a working version of this called Land Warrior. It's about this big, fits on your helmet. I put it on for the Science Channel, and in front of the TV cameras, I flicked it right over my eye, and I was online. We already have the internet in an eyepiece this big. Soon it'll be commercially available in your contact lens. Well, the old-fashioned way. For the most part, we're not going to have immediate acceptance of processed food made out of algae and stuff like that. That could be coming in the future. But right now, for the immediate future, food will be done the old-fashioned way. Except some of it will be genetically modified. Now, of course, in Europe, they have an allergy to genetically modified food. I think the rollout of genetically modified food was perhaps done prematurely, too hastily. But I think eventually we will have things like super rice, that is genetically modified rice that can feed the world. Jobs. In my book, I have a complete list of where the job market is going, who will have a job, who won't. And if you want to find out, buy my book. Now let me tell you. Strictly repetitive jobs are on the way out. Jobs involving factory work that are strictly repetitive, garment work, that's on the way out. However, if you are a gardener, construction worker, sanitation worker, or policeman, those jobs cannot be automated. Every garbage is different. Every garden is different. Every construction site is different. Robots do not have that ability to do non-repetitive work requiring pattern recognition. Our most advanced robot is called Asimo, built in Japan. I talked to the inventor of Asimo, and he admitted to me that the world's most advanced robot has the intelligence of an insect, a cockroach, a retarded cockroach, a lobotomized, retarded cockroach. Our most advanced robots are very primitive at the present time. Therefore, blue-collar jobs that are non-repetitive will survive into the foreseeable future. Among middle-class jobs, jobs that are most threatened are middlemen jobs. Tellers, agents, brokers. The friction of capitalism. Those are the jobs that are in most danger of being rendered extinct. For example, stockbrokers. Today you can buy a stock on the internet. So what does a stockbroker